Hi guys, so welcome to our data analysis use case tutorials. Here what we aim to achieve for these tutorials is look at Python concepts and then look for data analysis use case to better explain them and give perspective, a data analysis perspective, and also to make it for folks who are learning, not to learn in isolation, but to learn with a direction for data science. So today what we're going to be doing is looking at Python numerical operations. Now, when we talk about Python numerical operations, we're talking about stuff like addition, and we're looking at division, and so on and so forth. Right. Now, how do we now work with this doing some data analysis activity? We already have data salaries. So this is our data salaries. And if I look at the first 5 rows, again, to put it in context. So this is the first 5 rows or observations, right? So now what we want to work with is, let's work with a numerical feature here. So it's a numerical feature, and to know if it's a numerical feature, you can still use data salaries.info, which is a method that will let you see a breakdown of all this. You can see this, right? Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to look at the salary column, right? So to look at the salary column, I'm going to create a series, a pandas series. So what we have here is a pandas data frame, 2-dimensional tabular structure, row and columns. I want to create a series. So I'm going to call this series a salary. So inside of it, what I'm going to do is I'll make it a list. So I'll use a list function. Then inside that, I'm going to say data salaries, and I'll index salary, and so boom. Now if I'm to so this is a list, so I say type and I put salary inside it, I have a list. So it's a list. Then what I want to do is, if again, let's look at that. Let's see if we could just use a slice notation here and just get the first 6 rows, or no, the first 5. So right, so you can see that, and this is what is here. This is also what you find over here. Now this is where I am going to, so hold on, let me see. So I converted a series to a list. Yes. Now, so here I sliced. So yeah, I sliced. So that's what I did. I sliced over here. Now, so what I want to do now is for us to use the numerical operation. I'm going to try and see if I can get the mean of the salaries here. So to do that, I'm going to call this mean underscore salary, right? And then what I'll simply do here is sum of salary divided by the ln of salary. So typical, right? That's basically what we get when we put this out. So our mean salary is going to be this. So you see, this is what the mean salary is, but this is what we're focusing on. We're using numerical operations, but again, remember, you can always do this with descriptive statistics. But I just want to put this in perspective for folks who are learning from scratch. Now, with that, we have a mean salary. So what if we calculated variance, right? So so let's calculate variance, and you know, the question is, what is variance actually? Now, statistically, if you want to measure how spread out data points are around this mean over here, you use a variance. So you're trying to quantify it. So you're going to get what we call the sum of, you know, the calculated average. So if we squared the mean, then we try to get the sum of all those individual data points and just get the sum of it. So that's what the variance is. We eventually now get to square the variance so we can get a standard deviation. And the standard deviation gives us a figure, a simple figure that says this is how spread out data is from the mean. So, so again, the whole idea isn't just to look at variance. The whole idea is for us to just see how we're going to use Python numerical operators. So what I'm going to do here again is I'm going to say salary.variance, and here, so we're trying to get the sum, right? The sum of the squared average of each of those elements inside salary list, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now say X. So this is sort of like a comprehension, like a list comprehension. Yeah. And so it's not sort of, it's a list comprehension. You can check that out. So again, I want to, you know, look at the mean, like subtract each of the, each of the elements inside the list, inside our list here from the mean, right? Then we're going to square them. Exponentiation, another Python numerical operation, right? So with a list comprehension, we do something like a shorthand for creating a list, you know, stuff like that. There's going to be a video for list comprehension, so check out in the introduction to Python, right? So I say for X in, and so what we're going to do for X in our salary, so this is this guy's here, for X in our salary, because that is what we're referencing here for each of the elements inside our salary list. This is what it is over here. Then we're going to divide by the ln of salary, because, you know, that's what we're doing. For each of the salaries we subtract from the mean, then we square them, then we'll get the sum of it, and that's the variance. That's basically what it is. So boom. Oh, mean. Oh, sorry. That's what we were supposed to do. The mean salary. Missed that out. So that's what we have. So now if I say salary dot variance, you can see that this is what we have. We have a variance over here. So again, you can see we have used exponentiation, we've used division, Python operations, Python numerical operators. So these are the things we want you to see. So just for good behavior, we will just add the final part of it. We just calculate. Let's calculate the standard deviation. So how do we calculate the standard deviation? So I'm going to call this standard, I'm going to call this std underscore salary. And in here, I'm going to say, how do I do this? Do we have, no, there's no standard deviation. Okay, I will have to do an import statement. So I'll have to import maths. So if I import maths, what I'm basically doing is importing math models. That's what I'm going to do. So with that, I can now say maths dot square root, because to get a standard deviation you get a square root of the variance, right? So this, you know, the sum of squares, we're going to get to that when we're doing machine learning. So right, so with this, I'm going to put the salary variance in here, and I will have my standard deviation. So the standard deviation of the whole thing we have here, and you see, this is what we have. So basically, this is our standard deviation but that the whole idea here is that we wanted to look at Python numerical operators. And so now we're just like data analysts now, trying to use this thing one little block at a time. So right, so this is it. We have looked at the use case for Python numerical operations. We have addition, we have division, we have exponentiation. I hope I got that correct. It's like a mouthful. And then we looked at a data set, and then we tried to mimic some of these operations and see how they work. So take your time and watch this video once, twice, 10 times, then you start to get a sense of what it is. And while you're at it, you know, like, subscribe, share with friends and enemies so that they can pick up Python and understand Python use cases with data analysis.